Tonight, a special edition of World News Tonight. You can see the thousands gathered here right behind me. Pope Francis here in America. His historic visit to the White House, meeting with the president. The enormous crowds lining the streets. The Pope lifting a little girl along the route. She hands him a letter, stopping to bless babies, then entering the Basilica. As we heard from so many Americans, what is it about this Pope? Also tonight, the other major headline today, the CEO of the largest automaker in the world resigning after rigging cars to pass tests. What now for the value of your car? Donald Trump firing back tonight, his new message to Fox News. Why is he so upset? And Carly Fiorina tonight on her empathy for Hillary Clinton. Terror on the highway, the 911 calls, suspected snipers taking aim at drivers.
I think my window just got shot.
And Yogi Berra, we remember, an American original.
This is a special edition of ABC World News Tonight with David Muir, reporting tonight from Washington, D.C.
Good evening on this historic night from Washington. Pope Francis greeted by tens of thousands of Americans here in our nation's capital, stopping the Popemobile, lifting children to bless them, speaking English on the South Lawn of the White House, calling America a nation of immigrants, founded on religious freedom, quoting Martin Luther King Jr., issuing a call to action on climate change, then uttering those three words:
God bless America.
The images of this day, President Obama, the First Lady with the Pope waving from that balcony, later walking the path along the Rose Garden, taking to the streets in the Popemobile, that Jeep Wrangler, and just a short time ago, making history here, the Pope and the Saint canonized right here in the U.S. We do have team coverage of every moment, every step tonight. ABC's chief foreign correspondent, Terry Moran, traveling with the Pope, leading us off.
On a glorious sun-dappled morning at the White House, thousands gathered across the broad lawn. The president's cabinet, the honor guard marching in, the troops bearing the colors. It was the grandest of American pageantry. Then the trumpets blared, and the motorcade arrived, the Pope's little Fiat bringing all that grandeur a bit back down to earth. Every arm aloft, taking pictures. The two men stood together for the national anthems, a striking 21st century image, this first Pope from the Americas and first African-American president, who praised Francis as a force for change in the world and an ally, especially on the environment.
Holy Father, you remind us that we have a sacred obligation to protect our planet, God's magnificent gift to us.
And then Francis spoke.
Good morning.
In English, carefully, but with utter calm clarity.
As the son of an immigrant family, I'm happy to be a guest in this country, which was largely built by such families.
Defying critics on the right, he called for action on climate change.
That climate change is a problem we can no longer be left to a future generation.
This man's humility in power somehow enhances his impact on people.
We love you, Pope Francis!
They walked to the Oval Office for their private meeting.
I noticed all of you are much better behaved than usual.
And then the Pope was off into the Popemobile and onto the streets of Washington.
And Terry Moran with us now. And Terry, you were telling me that the Pope delivered his bishops a message saying, be humble.
And humility, David, will come easier to some bishops than others. He also, however, on a serious note, said we will not repeat the crime of sex abuse. Very stern on that.
There's another late-breaking headline involving members of the Supreme Court tonight, the justices who will not be attending this historic joint meeting of Congress.
That's right. Some will, some won't. Among those who won't, conservative Catholics, Justice Scalia, Justice Alito, and Justice Thomas. They don't say why, but it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and they're Catholic, all three of them.
Absolutely.
All right, Terry Moran with us. We're envious of your travels with the Pope. Terry, thank you. The overwhelming response has been really something to witness here in Washington. 11,000 on the South Lawn this morning. By some estimates, 25,000 right here behind us tonight at the Basilica this afternoon. Crowds stretching all the way to the horizon there. We talked to so many of them asking, what is it about this Pope? The crowds began forming early this morning. Pope Francis on his way to the White House, cheers erupting the moment the crowd spots him. Bypassing his little compact car, walking right up to them, blessing them as they cheer Papa. One girl in tears as she reaches out to the Pope. He touches her face too. The president of a local Jesuit school getting a moment to talk with the Pope asking him to pray for him in English, practicing before this trip.
Pray for me.
I will.
Don't forget.
I will. Absolutely.
I need it.
I promise. I promise. Every day.
Shortly after 11, the Pope-mobile, that white Jeep Wrangler, open on both sides, driving down Constitution Avenue, signs reading, "We love the Pope. God bless you, Pope Francis." The People's Pope giving a thumbs up and blessing the crowd. At one point, the Pope-mobile stops. A member of the security detail walks over to the crowd and picks up a baby boy, carrying him to Pope Francis, a kiss on the head. Then this little girl in her red dress, 5-year-old Sophia Cruz from Los Angeles, somehow making her way through the barricade. Police moving her away. They stop her a second time, but Pope Francis gestures for her. The guards carry her up, a kiss, and she hands him a letter. In the letter, she writes, "My heart is sad because of discrimination. My friends and I love each other, no matter the color of our skin." Later, greeted at the Cathedral of St. Matthew the Apostle, walking down the aisle for a prayer service with his bishops. Then, a moment of humor.
Our Holy Father has asked me to say that he's just very sorry he can't greet every single bishop personally. But
And this afternoon, we were with the thousands awaiting the Pope at the Basilica.
What is it? The light. I don't know, just when he smiles, you just feel like he's like touching your heart.
Just a smile?
Yeah.
If you had to choose one word to describe this Pope, what would it be?
Humble.
Humble?
Modest.
These college students told us they will never forget this. The Pope hung out with you in college. Who can say that? Just to give you an idea of the sheer scope of the crowd here gathered to hear Pope Francis, you can see they're all along the fences here, and come on inside, because this is actually where they have seats for the Mass, and you can see there is not an empty seat here at the Basilica. In fact, much of this day, the Pope speaking in English, and we remember our time with him inside the Vatican, surprising us with English too. So when I asked the Pope, "Are you ready to come to America?" the fact that he didn't even pause and said yes meant that he knew it was time.
Yes. He has been preparing for this, David. I mean, this is no coincidence.
Even practicing his English.
Yes.
And just before he arrived here, as we were talking to Liam's parents, Liam chimed in.
I'm excited.
You're excited too? Liam wanted to make sure he was heard too. As we said, a day of first, Pope Francis making history right behind us here, and you can see much of that crowd. Many of the people I was talking to earlier still gathered down there behind us. The Pope celebrating Mass here at the Basilica of the National Shrine of the Immaculate Conception, and for the first time canonizing a saint on American soil. An 18th century Spanish missionary who came to America, an historic moment, but not without some controversy. Still tens of thousands here to witness the moment, including our own Cecilia Vega, who is not far from us right here tonight. Hey, Cecilia.
Hey, David, good evening to you. You're right, that Mass just wrapping up, and I can tell you the crowd here is just ecstatic. The day ending here just as it began, with the crowd chanting, "Viva el Papa, long live the Pope." He entered as only Pope Francis can, in that Pope-mobile to the resounding cheers of the faithful. His first Mass in the United States, and he did it by making history, the first saint ever named on American soil. Junipero Serra, the Spanish priest who established California's missions. What does that mean to you?
I think it's really exciting.
So I think it's something pretty special.
Today, descendants of the Native Americans he converted right there at the altar. Special to some, controversial to others. Serra's role in history marking a dark chapter of colonization and forced conversion of Native Americans. Tonight, thousands of this hashtag Serra is no saint.
The more you get to know who the saint was, he had a lot of compassion towards everyone.
By saintly standards, Serra reached sainthood relatively quickly, just 231 years after his death.
This crowd here is massive, 20,000 people all packed into this area. And yes, while they are here to witness a piece of history, there's also something else that they're pretty excited about.
I'll be honest, I'm here to see the Pope.
The image of Junipero Serra looming large.
Fray Junipero Serra.
But tonight, another image looms even larger.
La Iglesia
And of course, that other first tomorrow, that historic speech to Congress, David, as you know, we will see even more crowds then.
Cecilia Vega with us live here in Washington as well. Cecilia, thank you. And we will have full coverage of the Pope's trip to America every step of the journey tonight on Nightline, first thing in the morning on Good Morning America. And I'll be back in New York with the Pope tomorrow night. But we do move on this evening to the other major headlines of this day, starting with Volkswagen. The CEO resigning in the wake of that stunning admission. Volkswagen confessing they rigged their cars to cheat on emissions tests. 500,000 cars in the U.S., 11 million around the world. Customers of so many popular models now outraged, and tonight some taking action, filing lawsuits against the largest automaker in the world. And what is their car worth now? ABC's David Curley back on the story tonight.
The VW emissions scandal called a grave crisis by the resigning CEO, saying he is stunned by misconduct on such a scale. So are the owners of the 11 million cars.
Complete deception.
R11 bought into the Volkswagen pitch for a diesel car.
Oh, that used to be dirty. This is 2015.
No. With performance and clean emissions, which VW touted in commercials. But VW inserted software to shut off the emission controls, except during an emission check, allowing cars to pollute up to 40% more than allowed, making some owners feel guilty and angry. Levin is part of one of many class action lawsuits.
I try to avoid driving it now as much as I can. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with it. I'm not sure who will buy it.
The best advice for consumers is to sit tight and wait to hear from Volkswagen.
Owners haven't heard, and apparently neither have dealers we visited across the country.
One thing experts do tell us is that the value of the Volkswagens involved has gone down in the week since this emissions cheat was revealed. David?
David Curley in Washington. David, thank you. We turn now to the race for 2016 tonight and to a feud reignited this evening. Republican frontrunner Donald Trump in a new fight with Fox News, saying he'll boycott them because of what he calls unfair treatment. And now a new war of words with the network after one of their moderators was at the center of the last storm, Megyn Kelly. ABC's Tom Llamas tonight with what Fox News is now saying.
Tonight, Donald Trump says he's breaking up with Fox News and won't appear on the cable network for the foreseeable future.
The polls came out the other day. They were outstanding. Fox didn't put them up. I didn't feel I was being treated fairly.
But in a statement, Fox News says they dumped Trump, canceling his appearance on the O'Reilly Factor, implying that's why he's angry and that his complaints are getting tedious. Relations between the network and the candidate chilly since Megyn Kelly asked this question in the first debate.
You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals.
More than 6 weeks later, Trump is still trashing Kelly in a tweet last night calling her a lightweight. Today, Trump speaking to a half-empty room in South Carolina, turning his fire on another woman, surging candidate Carly Fiorina.
She's fighting to raise money, and her business career was a disaster. And nobody wants to say it. They say you can't say that because it's sexist.
Fiorina giving it right back.
Leadership is not about how big your office is, how big your title is, how big your airplane or your helicopter or your ego is. Leadership is about service.
David, Carly Fiorina did have kind words for Hillary Clinton today, telling People magazine she has empathy for her and would never personally attack her. As for Donald Trump, his campaign says they have another rally in South Carolina tonight. They're expecting 2,100 people. David?
Tom Llamas covering every step of this campaign for us. Tom, thank you. Meanwhile, tonight, authorities in Phoenix now releasing dramatic new 911 calls, drivers terrorized by snipers along the highway. At least 11 incidents being investigated, most along an 8-mile stretch of roadway. Windshield shattered, that cross still dangling from the rearview mirror in that image. Tonight, that suspect now charged, but insisting they've got the wrong guy. ABC's Kana Whitworth with the 911 calls tonight.
I think my window just got shot.
Tonight, these new 911 calls revealing the terrifying moments drivers in Phoenix realized they'd been hit.
Okay, are you injured? I don't feel anything because I just got so scared because I just heard a big bang and the window shattered.
Some even giving eerie descriptions of a roadside gunman.
And then I saw a hand, go to the top. It looked like it was screwing two things together. And I'm like, is that a rifle?
He had over 15 magazines fully loaded all around his body. He had a 9mm on his hip.
Police say 21-year-old Leslie Allen Merritt Jr. used a 9mm firearm in 4 of the 11 incidents. Tonight, he's charged with 16 felonies, though insists he's innocent.
My gun's been in the pawn shop for the last 2 months.
But the pawn shop owner saying he was in the shop more recently, though pawned the gun before the fourth shooting authorities had linked to Merritt. Tonight, authorities are reportedly saying the shooting in question initially happened earlier than they thought. And David, they're also investigating 7 other incidents.
There is still much more ahead on World News Tonight this Wednesday. Major developments after that controversial move on a high school football field. That school now talking after those high school football players were accused of blindsiding the referee. Was it the assistant coach behind the play? So many people weighing in on the order to take down the ref. Also news tonight for millions of American workers. The damage you're apparently doing while sitting in your chair at your desk at work, and the one tiny thing you can do to change it. And we remember tonight an American original, baseball great Yogi Berra. We'll be right back. Next tonight, new developments in the blindsiding football scandal in Texas. 2 suspended high school players facing possible expulsion now for hitting a ref during a game. The player's attorney now saying an assistant coach admitted telling them, quote, make the referee pay. Here's ABC's Clayton Sandell.
The 2 Texas high school players who launched this brutal takedown of a referee faced a discipline hearing today that will soon decide their punishment.
I'm ready to accept any punishment coming towards me.
Victor Rojas and Michael Moreno claimed they tackled that referee on orders from assistant coach Mac Breed, and now their own principal says that's exactly what happened. In a statement first obtained by ESPN, Principal Robert Harris writes, Coach Breed told me that he directed the students to make the referee pay for his racial comments and calls.
Now, those players tell us they feel betrayed by a school district they say waited nearly 3 weeks to back them up.
It was really shocking to know that through this whole time they've known the truth.
Coach Breed has not responded to numerous attempts to get his side of the story. As for that referee, Robert Watts, his attorney denies he ever used racial slurs.
They are flat out lies, and the people who know him know that.
For their part, Rojas and Moreno say they accept full responsibility.
It was a mistake that I made, and I'm sorry, I regret it. I just want to apologize to Mr. Watts.
Clayton Sandell, ABC News, Denver.
Clayton, thank you. When we come back here tonight, we remember one of a kind, a true American great. Also a major headline for millions who sit at a desk all day, what it's doing to your body, and a major tip for you tonight. And a major sneak peek this evening at the new Star Wars. Don't go away. To the index of other news tonight, we remember an American original. Baseball great Yogi Berra, the Hall of Famer, played 18 seasons with the New York Yankees, just as famous off the field for his Yogi-isms like, when you come to a fork in the road, take it. And it ain't over till it's over. Yogi Berra was 90 years old. There's a new study tonight about fidgeting, finding it may actually help counteract the negative effects of sitting behind a desk all day. Researchers theorize it jolts your metabolism. Something as simple as fidgeting, they say, helps. And the wild ride going viral tonight, Facebook now releasing this 360-degree video simulating a scene from the new Star Wars movie, The Force Awakens, due out come December. When we come back from Washington, after all, he is the first pope to take a selfie, but wait until you see the images we have for you right after the break. Finally tonight, he is called the People's Pope, so imagine being along the route today and finding out he's willing to take a selfie. During our visit inside the Vatican a couple weeks back, we learned Pope Francis has never used a computer or even owned a cell phone, but he is certainly on Twitter, tweets approved by him, 22 million followers. In fact, he's the most retweeted leader in the world, more than President Obama, who tweeted himself today to the Pope, "Welcome to the White House, Pontifex. Your messages of love, hope, and peace have inspired us all." Pope Francis, the first pope to take a selfie. And so many American families along the route today know that, documenting his every move. These 2 young girls snapping a selfie today with Pope Francis. There was the photo with an 11-year-old boy. He will never forget it. Even inside St. Matthew's, bishops there for a prayer service capturing the moment too. Amid all the flashes in the Oval Office, this image, the Pope and the first family's dogs, Bo and Sonny. And there will likely be photos tomorrow when he boards his flight for New York City, an American Airlines crew chosen to take him to New York. That plane tonight, dubbed Shepherd 1. And we thank the Catholic University of America for letting us broadcast here tonight. And take a look, Pope Francis leaving the Basilica here just moments ago, ending his day, heading for that compact car. And we'll see you tomorrow night from New York. Until then, good night.